Good evening. My name is Lori Bernardo. I will be your presenter for this evening, and I want to welcome you to our webinar, The Silent Exodus, the 5 Unseen Reasons Why Your Patients Are Leaving Your Practice. So let me ask you this. When was the last time a patient actually told you they were unhappy? If you're like most dentists, the answer is they usually don't. In fact, 36% of consumers admit that they've been frustrated with their dentist, but 91% won't say a word. Those patients will just disappear and maybe leave a bad review on their way out. That's what I call the silent exodus. And if you're not watching for it, it can drain your patient base without you even realizing it. It is truly a hidden threat. The truth is, this doesn't happen because you're careless. We know that you care about your patients, so it's not about being careless or not caring. It usually happens because you're overwhelmed. And let's face it, these last few years have given us a lot of things to be overwhelmed about. And just one role in your practice, dental assistants, those roles stay vacant sometimes for months. In fact, on average, it takes 2.5 months just to fill a position. Add to that the extra time for onboarding, and that really leaves practices shorthanded far longer than expected. And when that schedule is slammed and the team is running on fumes, the patient experience is the first thing that often slips. On top of that, we are seeing burnout at really record levels. 3 out of 4 dentists say they feel it at least some of the time. My name is Lori Bernardo. I have been in dentistry for over 35 years, and I have done every role imaginable in this business. I've helped thousands of practices across my career, helping them reach their full growth potential. And I hear it all the time, and I'm seeing doctors all the time with these challenges. So tonight we're going to dig into some of these challenges and what you could do to overcome them. So let's talk about the data, because we all have stories. I mean, I myself have left dental practices. Once I left my own clinical career, I had to go out just like consumers and find a new dentist. And I've left dental practices for some of these reasons, but these are anecdotal. So let's look at what the data says. So the ADA surveys patients about these things. And this recent survey, they wanted to know why patients are frustrated with their dentist. And these answers are really eye-opening. Most of these frustrations are not about the clinical or the quality of the clinical care you're providing. They're about how patients feel during the process. So the good news is that means that these things are fixable. You don't have to really go and relearn your craft, right? It really is fixable, and it starts with recognizing what these patterns are. So let's take down a look at the top reasons. So reason number 1, this is a big one. Patients feel that their pain is ignored. And they say, and it's not really just pain, the pain itself or the physical discomfort. It really can also be about how they felt during the treatment, right? The overall feeling. And they say that they're not feeling acknowledged and not feeling cared for. When a patient is nervous and hurting, even a quick, how's your comfort level during your procedure can change their whole perception of you and your team. Remember, they're sitting there with their mouths open. They're kind of at the mercy. If you don't give them a chance to share what they're experiencing, you don't know what that is, right? So asking a question can change that whole thing. So practices that check in before during and after a procedure send a different message. It says, we see you, we care. So, reason number 2, cost and transparency issues. Money is emotional. Listen, we all deal with it, right? Not having enough money is always going to hurt your emotions. And when patients, on top of their dental fears and everything else that come along with it, feel like they're blindsided by costs, they lose trust fast. 63% of patients say surprising costs are the top reason they switch providers. Now, we can't control insurance reimbursement rates. We know that that's a beast that can't be handled immediately, but we can control how we explain to them how their insurance works. Sadly, people just don't know. Really, they don't fully understand how their insurance works. So clear, upfront conversations about costs paired with easy to read written estimates turn a potentially negative conversation into a trust building one. Reason number 3, right? Feeling unheard. Here's the one you might not expect, right? 13% of patients say their dentist didn't listen. In reality, I'm sure you probably did listen. But, when the schedule's jammed, it's easy to give short, rushed answers. Patients notice a little time, extra time, like just a little extra time, maybe a reflective question, right? Repeating that question, that concern back to the patient. Those kinds of things actually will help to really show you're paying attention. Number 4, access delayed. We're in a world right now where, we want everything instant, right? We want to order our Amazon product and have it delivered the same day. And everything is very instant right now. If you have a situation where your patients have to wait a long time for an appointment, it feels like an eternity. Really kind of, if you think about what it took for that patient to pick up that phone and call, they're having an issue or a problem, or they just feel like it's time that they need care. If they have to wait months, they start to feel like maybe they're not that important to you. 30% of patients tell us, and this is, again, ADA survey, that they'd switch providers just to get in faster. Now, this doesn't mean you have to open up your schedule wide, but building in same-day emergency slots or using some type of automated recall that will fill in the gaps when they happen quickly can make a huge difference. Reason number 5, right? Insurance and administrative frustrations. Now, this is another one I think we could sometimes be blindsided. Your patients really feel that if there's insurance issues, even though it may not be your fault, it's all part of their experience. So if we're not really clear on all of that that's going on from an administrative standpoint, it can really hurt the overall experience. If they feel like your office isn't helping them navigate it, well, they're just going to find one that will. This is where staff training, not just in knowing the rules, but in explaining them with empathy and offering alternatives, things like membership plans. And this creates a domino effect. When frustrations go unaddressed, patients leave quietly. The typical attrition rate for most dental practices ranges from 10 to 40%. Considering an average practice has 2,000 active patients with a 10% attrition rate, they are set to lose 200 patients per year. That's 17 a month. Bump that up to the high end of range, which is 40%. You could be talking about losing 800 patients a year or 67 patients a month. Now think about this, and as a sales and marketing professional, I have practices come to me all the time and they want 30, 40, 50, 60 new patients a month when they come in. And that's great that we can make that happen. But if you're losing more of them out the door, what are you gaining, right? So this is an important issue before you do anything, that we have to fix these kinds of things so we can keep the patients we have. Before you know it, you're spending more time replacing patients than keeping the ones you have. So what do? Let's talk about the patient advocacy model. And what is that? It's about more than good quality dentistry. We know that you're providing the best quality care you can for your patient, but it's really more about making every patient feel heard, informed, comfortable, and valued. A dental patient advocate is a professional who supports and guides patients through their dental care journey, ensuring they receive the best possible treatment and understand all their options. Think of it as if, maybe one of your team members brings in their mother or their sibling, how they would guide them through that whole process and make sure that everything that they were experiencing were absolute optimal in their care. Well, delivering that same kind of sensitivity to your patients is super important. These people act as a liaison between the patients and the clinical professionals, helping them with everything from explaining treatment plans to navigating insurance claims. So, how do you benefit? Well, we know that practices that prioritize communications and empathy see 30% higher recall rates. And when patients feel valued, they stick around and they bring their friends and family with them. So why doesn't this just happen on its own? Why don't we do this automatically? Well, the clinicians, the dentists, the hygienists, you can't do it all. You can't be the care provider, the dentist, the HR manager, the marketing director, and patient advocate all at once. Something has to give. And unfortunately, what happens is that patient experience. Again, not because you don't care, but because there are only so many hours in the day. Those patients quietly stop rebooking appointments, leading to shrinking schedules and thousands in lost production. Negative word of mouth spreads online, damaging the practice's reputation and making it harder to attract new patients. So let's look at this bandwidth breakthrough, right? Something's got to give. The key is taking the weight of business and marketing off of your shoulders. Partnering with a team, a trusted team, to help you run the systems, handle the outreach, and keep your practice growing, that will free you up to do what you do best, and that's deliver outstanding dentistry, right? And it also leads to a happy and motivated team. So we have to build a bridge to a patient-first practice and a better work-life balance for you. Imagine your patients not just staying, but becoming your biggest advocates. High-quality patients who gladly accept and pay for your treatment plans, then tell all of their friends about you. Now imagine, like this one, that all that's happening, you're only working 2 to 3 clinical days a week. It's not a pipe dream. And I'm going to show you the secret to making it happen in the next 24 months. So you can keep more patients without working longer hours. You could stop losing loyal patients to small, fixable frustrations. You can have a team that's happy, engaged, and proud to represent your practice. You could build a warm, positive office culture where your staff sticks around and everyone, including you, enjoys walking through the door in the morning. And it's not too late to reverse that silent exodus and create a practice patients never want to leave. And we can help you make that happen faster and easier than you think. Amplify 360 helps practices not just grow, but retain, building the kind of patient experience that fuels loyalty, referrals, and lasting reputation. And we do this by taking care of the aspects of marketing and practice management that are bogging down you and your staff every day, freeing you up to focus on creating a positive experience. So I love sharing testimonials from some of our awesome clients. So Dr. James Kale, hey, now he's been with us a while, so this testimonial is a little, probably about a year old, but here's what he said in the very beginning. He said, our website just went live, and last month, we saw 37 new patients in the first month. Last month, they received 52 new calls from the website. He says, we're definitely seeing a difference in quality. I have a video testimonial from Dr. Keel, and he really kind of goes on to say, it really came down to not so much the quantity of new patients, but quality. And really, we all want that ideal new patients, right? So are you seeing a trickle of patients quietly disappearing? Do you notice that, you're getting negative reviews or maybe more than you ever did before? Are you feeling the effects of staff turnover or burnout? Maybe you're in growth mode and you can't afford to lose even one ideal patient to a competitor down the street. Perhaps you're considering going fee for service and need to replace those low value PPO patients with loyal, high value ones. Or maybe you've already built a thriving practice, but you want to protect it by making sure your patients and your team never want to go anywhere else. Wherever you are in your journey, Amplify 360 can help you keep your patients happy, your schedule full, and your practice growing year after year. We know that growing a dental practice isn't a one-size-fits-all. We meet you where you are to create a gradual, sustainable growth plan to build the ideal practice with loyal patients every step of the way. We offer comprehensive practice growth. That's what our organization does. And we focus on consistent growth and results through the life of the practice. So whether you just open your doors today or you've been spinning your wheels on how to get ahead, or even if things are going great and you're ready to open new locations, we could provide guidance and service every step of the way. We've been helping clients since 1995, doctors just like you. And over that time, we've worked with over 10,000 practices over the years, and our average doctor stays with us about 8 years, and some even stay longer. And trust me, I've been working in marketing for dental practices for a long time, and really the churn on marketing companies is really fast. We used to see 2 years, but people are sticking around because things work. And here's where our ultimate goal is. We know that we can get every single doctor in a practice to $2 million in collections, not production. We all know what the difference is between production and collections, but $2 million in collections, right? And here's the best part. While each doctor is working only 150 days a year or less. And I know many of you are working 4.5 days a week, maybe taking 2 weeks vacation. That's like 195 days a year. So dropping out 40 clinical days a year and still being able to make more money, how does that sound? So let me share another testimonial. Not everybody's growth is different. Dr. Michael Kirchner in Jeffersonville, Indiana, his goals were a little different than most. What he wanted to do was really grow his practice regionally. So he has opened several locations over the years with our help. And what he says is with Amplify 360's help, we now have 3 offices this year. We're hoping to get to over 6 million and add a 4th location. Amplify 360 has been the catalyst that has enabled us to go from me working by myself to 4 full-time doctors, not including myself. Our staff has gone from 7 to just over 45. He says when you're considering different marketing companies, Amplify is the one that can deliver. And again, I know a little bit more about Dr. Kirchner's story. When he started building this business, he didn't have any children, and now his children came along, and what he really wanted to do was spend more time with his family while they were still young enough and they wanted to be around him. And so now he's able to do that. So, Amplify 360 really is a one-stop shop. So unlike other companies, we don't just build one part of the equation. We're able to ideate, build, manage so many important aspects of running a dental practice. Everything from a top-tier patient-generating website to automating your Google reviews, gathering process, to direct mail, to tracking calls, and to helping you convert more leads into patients. And the list truly does go on. In fact, this is really everything we offer. And there's even some things that are not listed in here. There's so many different levers that have to be pulled for practice growth. It's not just marketing, it's not just retention, but it's team and staff training. It's building out your brand, creating a recognizable brand across your region. It's catching those leads with things like chatbot and online appointment scheduling. There's so much that needs to be done to really make your growth and your marketing work. And we have a lever that you could be pulled for all of them to help facilitate that. So not only that, but we grow with you. Every practice faces new challenges as they get bigger. And our clients love that we can help them address those challenges with really state-of-the-art tools and expertise from decades of experience of helping doctors make more money and live happier lives. So what's the next step? I'm going to ask you to really consider spending a little time with one of us on the team here. And we're offering tonight a free practice discovery call. What we'll do is we're going to look at your current situation, show you what's potentially broken and how Google might be penalizing you and keeping you from getting more new patient leads and new patients in the door. We'll also help determine whether or not, we're a good fit for each other and for your practice and its needs. So right now you should be seeing a button on the right side of the screen. I'm going to ask you to just click that button. Just a little click, just click the button. Right? It's a few simple pieces of information we're going to ask you. I promise you don't have to swear over your next born. It's just a short call. On that call, what we're going to do is you're going to select the time that works for you. You're going to meet with one of our team members. And it's a short call, lasts about 15 minutes, and there's really no obligation for you to do anything. It's simply a quick conversation to see if this is something that would be ideal for you or not, right? So again, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and click that button and pick a time for your free practice discovery call. You can keep guessing what works, or you can lean on a proven pathway to attract new, high-quality patients into your practice by working with respected industry leader that will light the right path right up in front of your feet. You don't have to do it alone. We can help shape your practice in a way that attracts quality patients and converts them into your greatest advocates and builds your business in ways you've always wanted. I have another testimony I wanted to share. So Joseph Palumbo is one of our great clients. I love his story because he was really looking, him and his partner, Dr. Yusuf, were really thinking about just hanging it up, selling the practice and leaving. So they were frustrated. They were frustrated with the insurance network mess and how hard they have to work and patients that never accepted treatment. And they just felt like they weren't running their own business. So we met them and we said, give us 2 years. We're going to help you turn this ship around. And this is his testimonial. I mean, they really were very motivated. And actually, it didn't take 2 years to turn the ship around. It took 14 months. They were highly motivated. What he says, it's probably just been a little over 2 years now that we worked with the Amplify 360 since Dr. Yusuf and I made the decision to get out of this insurance network mess. Now I feel like I'm a person with dignity who can call my own shots and treat patients the way I want to treat them. It's like a whole new beginning. Working with Amplify 360 is just showing me what's possible. We connect with patients on a whole new level, and we're able to do more things, better things. It's all been very rewarding. So I want to thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you spending your short time of your evening with me, and I hope that this was helpful. And again, that button should still be there, and we would love to talk to you. and see if we're a right fit for you. So that's all for now. Again, have a good evening and hope to see you soon.